Parents who have adopted an older child, 5 and up. How has it gone for you? We adopted Marcus when he was 9 years old. He'd been in the system since he was 6, bouncing between foster homes that couldn't handle his anger issues. The social worker warned us he had serious trust problems, didn't like being touched, and had been returned by 3 different families. The first month was absolutely brutal. Marcus would hide food under his bed like he was preparing for some kind of famine. Crackers stuffed in his pillowcase, fruit snacks taped under his desk drawer, even leftover pizza wrapped in napkins and shoved behind his books. He'd flinch whenever I reached for something near him. At dinner, he'd stuff his pockets with bread rolls when he thought we weren't looking. He never asked for anything. Not toys, not snacks, not even basic stuff like new shoes when his old ones had holes you could stick your finger through. When I bought him clothes, he'd thank me like I was doing him some huge favor instead of just being his mom. He'd wear the same shirt 3 days in a row because he was afraid to ask me to wash it. The kid acted like he was living in a hotel instead of his own home. Marcus would wake up at 5 in the morning and make his bed with military precision. Hospital corners, pillows fluffed perfectly. Then he'd sit on the floor fully dressed, waiting for someone to tell him what to do. The breakthrough came during a massive thunderstorm in October. I heard crying from his room around midnight. Not normal kid crying, but this scared, desperate sobbing that made my heart break into pieces. I knocked on his door and found him curled up in his closet, shaking like a leaf. Lightning was flashing outside, and every thunder crash made him jump. He was terrified of storms because his birth dad used to lock him outside during bad weather as punishment for crying or asking questions. I sat on the floor next to the closet and started talking about completely random stuff. School, the weather, my favorite TV shows, anything to distract him from the storm. After an hour, he finally crawled out and let me sit on his bed while the thunder passed. That became our thing. Every thunderstorm, I'd grab some cards or a book and sit with him until it was over. We'd play Go Fish or read Harry Potter together. He started opening up about his past, little pieces at a time. His previous foster mom used to take away his food for a whole week if he broke any rules. Another family made him sleep in the garage when he had nightmares because they said he was being dramatic. One foster dad hit him with a belt for asking too many questions about dinner plans. No wonder he hoarded food and never asked for anything. This kid had learned that adults couldn't be trusted to take care of him, so he had to take care of himself at all times. But slowly, things started changing. Marcus began leaving his bedroom door open during the day. He'd ask if he could help with dinner, instead of just watching nervously from the corner. When I made his favorite spaghetti and meatballs, he'd actually smile instead of just eating in complete silence. The real turning point came 8 months after the adoption was finalized. Marcus had been sick with the flu for 3 days, running a fever and barely eating anything. I was checking on him every few hours, bringing chicken soup and making sure he stayed hydrated. On the 3rd night, his fever spiked to 104 degrees. I was getting ready to take him to the emergency room when he grabbed my hand with his sweaty palm and looked me straight in the eyes for the first time since moving in. "Please don't send me back," he whispered through his fever. "I'll be good. I promise I'll be good. I won't get sick anymore." My heart completely shattered. This sick little boy thought I was going to abandon him for having the flu, like getting sick was some kind of personal failure that would make me change my mind about keeping him. I sat on his bed and held his burning hot hand while tears streamed down my face. "Marcus, you're my son now. That means forever. Even when you're sick, even when you're scared, even when you make mistakes, you're not going anywhere. Ever." He cried then. Real tears, not the silent kind he usually had when he thought no one was watching. And for the first time in 9 months, he let me hug him without pulling away or going stiff as a board. 2 years later, Marcus calls me mom without any hesitation. He brings friends over after school and introduces me as his mom, not his foster mom or adoptive mom, just mom. Last week, he made me a Mother's Day card that said, "Thank you for proving that some adults actually keep their promises." Inside was a drawing of our house with all 3 of us standing in front, holding hands and smiling. He drew himself with a huge grin on his face. That's how I knew we'd finally made it work.